Morning. Welcome to the stream on the day after Thanksgiving. Um, in the U.S., right? that's very U.S. centric. Commonly referred to as Black Friday. Um, it's supposedly the number one shopping day in the U.S., but statistics and reality show that the Saturdays after the last payday before Christmas are actually um, biggest shopping days in the U.S. Um, so yeah, welcome everybody. It's good to have you here. I didn't want to skip a week, um, and things came up that I've got to do on Sunday. So I figured, hey, I'm off work, may as well, provide a little content for people who are hanging out with me today. So for all of you guys who are hanging out, thank you for joining. I had a great Thanksgiving. Smoked my turkey. Um, it was really good. Um, let's give me just a sec. I think I've got a picture of it. Mainly just I've got to jump into my phone here, and I don't want to share information from my phone live on stream. Um, Come on. Well, so much for that. Never mind. Um, I know I took a picture of it, but it's not showing up in my phone stuff right now. So, oh, one last place I could take a look. Yeah, well, that's too bad. I do have a picture of it, but um, I sent it in my Teams chat, and because they locked down all the stuff with Teams, it probably didn't show up where I wanted it to be. But it was really good. So over the years, we've been working on just our turkey skills. And so this year, my wife brined the turkey. Um, we brined it for about 16-ish hours, I think. After that, put it on the smoker using it was a blend of not mesquite. It was a blend of apple, maple. There was one other wood in it. There's a blend of wood in there that just really um, gave good flavor. It was a good sweet flavor from the smoke. And then every 45 minutes, I basted it with chicken stock, and it came out really juicy and very very flavorful. Probably. Oh, and also my wife put herb butter underneath the skin of the turkey. Um, and so then once the after about 4 hours, I bumped the heat up to 350 in the smoker from 250, 225 to 350. And that allows the turkey to turn brown and crisps up the skin, and it was really good. So turkey smoking tips from the programming stream. Anyway, not even sure what I've got going on for the rest of the weekend. So might be well, I know a couple of things, but um, who knows? We'll see what happens this weekend. But anyways, thank you all for being here. Um, and let's take a look at the code review um, from last Sunday. So, I mean, it goes in and it says, "Hey, we upgraded, great. The to-do list store, and we used a non-existent link signal API from Angular core, which will cause a compilation failure." This one made me laugh. Um, Also, it says the save to do logic in the new store is not robust, and this is true. This one is really true, and it's something that I was planning on fixing. Um, but this non-existent linked signal is cracking me up, and it's hilarious because link signal is not an exported API from Angular core. Um, okay, maybe we should inform the Angular team about that one. But this one made me laugh when I was looking at it after the stream. Um, this is a good call out. The save to do method does not handle cases where a new to do is being created, um, where it's not already in the to dos arrays. So we do need to handle that case, but we'll do that after we get the grid in place. Right now, the application's pretty ugly. Um, so this just isn't very user friendly. It's not a great application. Well, it's not a great user experience at this point right now. We're going to get into uh, some Tanstack stuff. That's not the one we want. This is the one. So the property field tree and app input has been renamed to field. We did this. I'm not sure where this one's coming from either. And then there is a debugging statement in here, the console log. We can probably take this one out of the to-do form, to be honest. We don't need the saving statement in here anymore. So we'll go ahead and clear that one out and push that live. Oh, what was this? Wait. Oh, this is us removing zone. I thought it had changed Zod, but it hadn't. And eventually I'm gonna run out of free AI prompts, and we're gonna have to write our own prompts. But hopefully that doesn't happen today. Ole says it would be interesting to check how Tanstack forms are different from Signal forms. That would be an interesting comparison too, and maybe something we could get into. I haven't done anything with any of the Tanstack stuff, so I don't even know where how to guess on that one. So this is an interesting call out, and it's something that I tend to do. Using the same name, non-editable keys for both a type alias and a constant is confusing, especially since the type of to-do model is much broader than the constant value ID. To help improve code clarity, please use distinct names. For example, it's saying, so this is a way to flip this around. And it's a fascinating. So what happens when you go with a const like this and then you do type of number? You actually get a type union that is all the values in the array. So if we added more stuff to the array, it would be ID or whatever, and it's narrowly scoped because of the as const. You can only do this when it's typed like this. This is a fascinating call out here. but we that's not what we wanted. We wanted the non-editable keys be pulled from the keys of to-do model. And so there is a good there's a good argument for what Gemini's saying here. This isn't the solution though, what they're saying here, because we want it based on the keys of to-do model, and we want the non-editable keys to be that constant. Um, I think I'm going to stick with this, but there's definitely a reason why you might not want the type and the array that implements that type to be the same thing. Um, it could lead to some confusion where you can use non-editable keys as a constant. The reason I do it this way in this example is I really want the non-editable keys to be interchangeable. So if I pass something as a type of non-editable keys, I want it to come across as an array of, you know, and if I want it to, um, if I want it to be non-editable keys, and the one thing we could do here to fix this up in our to-do model, um, one thing we definitely could do is we could say, hey, we wanted non-editable keys to be an array of this. And then now non-editable keys is definitely synonymous. So this is an array of the keys. And so now we don't have to worry about passing things around as an array because it is the keys. That is a fix. I want these two to be synonymous, where the type and the non-editable keys can be passed in. I mean, um, we could also export a type here. This type, and this type could be non-editable keys value equals, and here we can do type of non-editable keys number. And so now this non-editable keys value is, oh, this doesn't work. Because it's all the keys, and that we don't want. We actually only want the keys from here, and so this is a problem. But what we could do is we could say non-editable key, or actually this is wrong. We could say this is to-do model keys. And so now non-editable keys is that, and then we could say export const non-editable key equals type of non-editable keys number. And what that is going to do we need parentheses here for this to work. Why won't it let me do number here? This should work. Muscle memory is off today. Because it's to do model keys, isn't it? No, that's not the reason. Oh, it's not. It's type. Somebody probably. Nope, somebody didn't probably catch that. Somebody's trying to sell garbage. Um, there we go. So, Ole shared some examples from Tanstack on the forums. Forms look really cool, but now what we could do is we can use this non-editable key. So does this work? So if I do const test key non-editable key equals ID, we're good, right? But if I put name, that shouldn't be good, but it is allowing it. The reason it's allowing it is because, yeah. It's because we're putting in the to-do model keys. And there's a way to make this work. But for right now, we're just going to use the to-do model keys here. That will be fine for what we're trying to do. There are ways to make these types more user friendly, and if we ever get into that case, we'll take a look at that. But we addressed this issue here. Please remove this console log. I want to leave the delta in place. It's also saying, hey, we've got some commented code. Yeah, the debugging and stuff like that. I want to leave this in place too because it's example code. So I think we're going to leave that as is. Type of non-editable keys. So my store is broken. So in my store, we've got this here. And we can say this is no longer do model keys. Oh. That's fun. So we broke something here. So by making to do model keys, this we actually broke this. And the issue we've got is if we just take this out, it's going to say, oh, did we just not? So now it's going to say, hey, it can't do this. And the reason is that string is not assignable to one of these types. That's interesting that it took this out. I'm curious why that appeared. But like if we do a number here, it's going to be fine. Because what this is basically saying is it's saying anything from there. That's not what we want. See, to do model keys includes all keys. But what we want, and maybe what we need to do is maybe we need to go, because as soon as I save this, everything's going to work again. So now everything works again, but what I want to do, that's not an issue either. What I want to do is go to, let's go to typescriptlane.org. Let's go to the playground. Because I want to run a couple of tests. So let's say class, and we'll call this test class equals, I don't need the equals. So, and let's make this bigger. Where is my zoom here? I just hit Control Plus. There we go. That should be a little bit easier to read. So let's create our test class, right? So our test class has ID, and that's a string. You know what? We're gonna make this a type just to make it easier. And let's also, you know what? We can also add prettier to this. There we go. So it says I need to refresh, so we'll refresh. So we've got prettier in place, and you know we'll have name. It's a string. Favorite number. That's a number. And I don't know. has attended stream, and that's a Boolean, right? And then what we want is we want const, or we want type test class keys equals key of test class. Boom. And the reason I did this is that we can now do this little oh, come on. With types with the playground, you can use this comment and it will give you what the so let's create another type. No, we're gonna go const and we'll do forbidden keys, and this will be test class keys that equals and we're going to say ID as const. And again, what we can do is we can say, hey, what is this? And that should tell us so it's a key of test class array, which means if we do type, and here we do forbidden key, we can't do forbidden keys number here. We need type of. Because if we look at the type here, we'll see that it's just a key of test class. That's not what we want. So we can see here, if we go this route with the constant array, then we can see like if we add name here, and it's not a type, so it's this. We can see that now forbidden key, if we were to use forbidden key as a type, then we could limit it to being just ID or name. But the problem here is I could add, you know, I could add Johanderson, right? Because that's our forbidden key. And we can see that our type gets that, and it doesn't care. As soon as I say, hey, this is type test class array, well, now it's going to tell me, hey, you can't have Johanderson in here, right? As soon as I take that out, oh, test class keys. So let's put that back. So now it's going to tell me, hey, we can't have Johanderson in here, right? So we've got, oh, and I put John Anderson. Why did it do John Anderson? Or John Adderson. Right. So what we need is an array that's made up of that can be a constant. Um, so here, if we go type forbidden keys array equals and object. Does this one work? So now what is the type of forbidden class keys? Right? It's a type never. So now it's saying string is not assignable to type never. Because there is no intersection between this and this. What if we go number here? It's a string. That's not what we want. And test class is a type. So this, a lot of times you'll have to do key of type. Oh, no. So this one works. The problem we have is forbidden keys array is too restrictive. It widens it too much. And that's the problem. And if we go like string here, that's an any type. Also an any type. Key of. See, what we want is just that list of keys. So that we can narrow this with the const. Because as soon as we narrow this as a const, we get what we want here, but we lose the type checking here. And if, for example, instead of this, it was like test um, or ID or name, right? And then here we did for hidden keys array. It still widens the type too much. So it's the typing on the as const that's the problem. Um, so we could do t extends forbidden key or key extends forbidden keys array. And then here we could do type of key number, right? Why doesn't like t here? It's being used as a value. Oh, I don't need typo here. Yeah. Which also means that we can put this here. And we can get rid of the ternary in our type. And so now we can say, hey, type forbidden keys, or we can say test class forbidden key equals forbidden key. And then we can go with forbidden keys here. We need type of forbidden keys. And now it doesn't like it because oh, that's easy to fix. Read only. Boom. Boom. And so now it's going to complain about it because ID name is not assignable to test ID name. And so here, now we can go back to this and we can say test class keys. Boom. And now it's still going to complain because Johanderson is not there. So now if we take that out, so there's some type safety here. And we can even take a look at what our type is here. And this, I mean, these are the kind of rabbit holes you could go down um, pretty deep. So now we've got forbidden keys, and then we've also got test class forbidden key. But there's I mean, could we do something here? Forbidden keys array T. And then we could say T extends test class keys. And then we can just say T array. And at that point, forbidden keys is so forbidden keys now becomes a forbidden keys array. But now this is a type any. See, we want it to be narrowed here. But we don't want it to be. And if we go unknown here, it can't be unknown. We can say this is T extends T extends no, we're going about this the wrong way. We're on the right track, but we're going about it the wrong way. So this is the this is actually the test class keys array. What we need to do is create a type, call it forbidden keys array, give it a generic. We can say T extends test class keys. And then we can say what is it? Infer R or never. He extends test class keys. I think we can actually just do a T array here. T, otherwise it's a never, right? There we go. There we go. And forbidden keys array here requires one type. Um, and here we can say any, I think. There we go. There we go. So now, we can't say this is a forbidden keys array. And actually we can say T equals any here, meaning we don't need this. Oh, we were so close. So close. Hey, yo, alternate. Welcome to the stream, man. Um, I don't want to get too bogged down in these typing things, but there are ways that I it would take me a while to track or to figure this one out. I think it's not worth it. He broke the firewall. Again, jumping into the middle of the stream. What are these types going to be used for? It's just the types that we're building here was just a little bit of an experiment, and I got a little bit distracted. Right now, this type is a little bit too... It's a little bit too open. And what I wanted to do was to force the narrowing of this type to only be keys from the to-do model, which we can do, but this right here breaks this as const. It makes it so we're not inferring. And it's been a while since I built these types of types. And we can do some really cool stuff with infer. But for right now, we're just we're lost, right? So it's better we'll call it where it is. The types aren't really that important. It was just more me exploring. So we're going to stage this. We're going to commit it. And we're going to call it done with the we're going to call it done with the pull request stuff, right? All the rest of it we're good with. So let's take a look, and what I want to do is look at Tanstack. That's the form, and there's the table. So what I want to do is bring in the Tanstack table. And first of all, let's go just make sure that we've got Tanstack installed. If we don't, let's make sure we do that, right? So we're gonna bring up package JSON. I hit the wrong Control P. Package.json. And inside of here, we're going to search for Tanstack. We don't have Tanstack. So that means we don't have it installed. This is my first time working with Tanstack, so if you guys have any suggestions or anything like that, feel free to feel free to point me in a good direction. So introduction, overview, installation. Something went wrong. Okay. Tanstack table. Tanstack table. So let's get started with Tanstack table. Installation. Okay, so it works this time. So we install Tanstack. It looks like we just do a pnpm install of Tanstack Angular table. Perfect. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll break out of our serve and we'll do pnpm install Tanstack Angular table. Yeah, Tanstack has been worked on quite a bit. I think it's Corbin Crutchley, right? Am I saying his name right? He spent a lot of work making sure that the whole Tanstack stuff, and there's a whole bunch of other people I'm sure that are part of the team. I mean, it's not just him, but he was the one that was talking about it 2 years ago at NGConf. And so we've installed that. Is a wrapper around the core table logic. So if we want to create a table, an options function or a computed value that returns the table options and returns a table. So we use create angular table, and then in our components, so we give it create angular table data, this dot data columns. So it looks like we need to give it data in columns. Yeah, my familiarity with AG Grid. A lot of Angular devs are very, very. And look over here on the side, on the Tanstack table, they're advertising AG Grid. That's hilarious. As much as I love our mutations and prefer their overall API in the toolkit, the Tanstack dev tools for query are the best dev tooling I've ever seen. And that's what I've heard. Like Tanstack query is like best of the best. The toolkit add-on is great as well, but being able to mess with the cache behavior or refresh live is great. And so, Michael, you probably got a lot more familiarity with Tanstack than I do. One thing I'm thinking about doing is, so for our Angular dynos, we used Graph and Apollo. I'm really curious about modifying that to have REST endpoints, and then taking out Apollo and replacing it with the Tanstack query. And then changing our front end to be signal forms. I think that would be really cool. So let's take a look. So it looks like we need columns. And then we need a row model. And then render your table in template. So here's an example. Looks like you can pass in See what I want to see with this table, because this looks all cool and everything, but it doesn't help, right? Like, what are my default columns? What are my column definitions? And then what's the get core row model? And check the left side. Are you saying over here? Um, oh, hey. Hey, this is what we wanted to look at. So we've got a person type. We've got a person array. Our column def is here. Perfect. So our component, and it looks like get core row model just comes from an import from Tanstack. Okay. All right, let's steal this, right? So what we need is the column def. Um, there are many full examples in Stack Blitz. Yeah, column group. We'll probably dig into some of this stuff because I do want to order by like task priority and stuff like that. And potentially even row selecting. So when we select a row, let's just get a basic Tanstack table in place. And we'll replace what we've got with that. So we've got that, but what we want is let's grab this column def here. Oh, these guys are no semicolon people. Oh no. Okay. So in our to-do form, we don't want our to-do form. We want our to-do. And we'll eventually move this. But for right now, we want to replace this with our Tanstack form. So let's get this working, and then we'll look at refactoring it, right? Okay, so the default columns here, we can just add above our components. Great. This is going to be a column def. Column def is going to come from Tanstack import column def from at Tanstack Angular table. Boom. And now it's not going to be a column def person. It's going to be a to-do model. So it's a column def of to-do model. And so now we've got some interesting stuff here. Let's take a look at, so our accessor key and our cell. Where does info come from? So let's make done our first item. And our info comes from here. We've got our done. We're using an accessor function here. for the last name, but last name doesn't exist. We're instead going to use, so we got done task name and then description. So let's go here, and this will be our accessor key. This will be name. So the header, oh, it's giving, oh, we're writing. You know what? Let's lean into this a bit. So our accessor function here is going to return an object. So we're going to return an object that has name. Do we have to do that? Yeah, we'll do name, and this will be row.name. And then we can also do our description, and it will be row.description. So there we go. And then here we can say this is our description ID. And then for the cell, we want to render we call this name here? No. Let's simplify things and then we'll go more complicated. So here, this will be our name. And here we can just call this our task name. And our footer, that's fine. Do we even need, we'll just take a look here. So our accessor key here can be description. And our header can be description. I don't even think we need the header here. We may not even need the cell there. And then this one can be our task importance. And here we can just call it importance. And I think that's all we need. So there's our default columns. And you know what? I'm going to throw an as const on here just to make them read only right now. And yeah, so you can have accessor key or accessor function. So we'll go super simple with this. So we have set up our default columns. So in our template, oh, they put it in a URL. Okay. So we're going to want this entire table also. So let's grab that. And that can go into here. And we'll figure this out in a bit. We are going to need flex render, it looks like. So let's see how they bring in flex render. If we go here and we look, so flex render directive. So we import the flex render directive. Great. So we'll do the same here. So we'll import flex render directive. There we go. And then the last piece of the puzzle is, so the data will grab there. So we need to create a table. So here we go. Yeah, we need to create a table. Let's go ahead and create our table. We'll make this protected. Read only table equals create angular table, which we will import from Tanstack. The data is not this dot data, it is this dot store dot to-dos. So the re-render is an interesting. Got a signal. Our columns are the default columns. The get row model here. So there we go. We've got that. So we've got our table, but let's make sure our table makes sense. So for header group of table.get header groups, so we're tracking that. Header of header groups, track header. If the header is not a placeholder, then we add a table header. We've got our flex render. That's fine. Table.get row model dot rows. So if we save this, does it build? Let's see if it builds. It might not build because it's complaining about something in the body. Non-editable keys dot includes keys. Oh, the JSON pipe's no longer used. You're right. The other thing we can do is we can move this to here. But it's complaining. Did I break something? Oh, I don't have key. We need to go back to our model. Where we've got key. No, it's in the store. Oh, did I just not save this? Is that why it thinks my key is wrong? Well, that's that compiled and served. Let's see what we get. Nothing. Oh, we got something. Hey, it's actually not too bad. Um, Not too bad at all. Um, it's better than I was expecting. So we've got a footer and a header. Um, we definitely want to fix these to not be lowercase. Um, so let's fix that up. Um, and then we'll need to fix up our table a bit, which we can use Daisy to do that also. The other thing we could do right now is on our TR, we could have click. Um, Handle click row. So we're rendering the inner HTML as a cell. Interesting. So we've got a little bit of an extra div here. What happens when we click this? 12. Let's refresh. Did I save it after making that change? Um, oh, hey, look. So already we've got our edit in place. So like this one, if I check this and save it, it's updating. That's pretty cool. Yeah, now we just need to add the Daisy table classes. In the resize columns example, table is not semantic. We'll take a look at that in a second, but let's go ahead and get some Daisy stuff in here to make our table actually look good. So with Daisy, we look at our table. Oh, come on. What? Do I need to refresh? There we go. Table. So we could take the footer off. And we could pin the rows. So we could go. So if we look at the examples here, like here's one example. Table with a border and background color. So table class equals table. Table with an active row. So we can see that they've got an active row there. Table with a row that highlights on hover. So zebra, this I think we'll probably do. So it's table and table zebra. Um, so if here we go class equals table, we do table dash zebra. And then the other thing we can do is in those, we can actually go class equals, oops, class equals, and we can do cursor dash pointer. That seems like a good idea. But then we can also do hover bg dash accent, sounds good, and then hover what is it? It's accent text dash accent. And so now when we hover, now our table should be, ooh, that's hideous. Accent's a bad choice. But our table looks better. We've got the zebra coloring going on, but accent was a bad choice. Let's go with secondary and text secondary content, because then we can actually read what we're doing. Oh, hot pink. That's beautiful. You know what? Let's we can go inside of our table here. We can give it like a 65% opacity. That's a little bit better. Let's go even lighter on the opacity. Do like a 25% opacity. There we go. We could probably use accent here, but it definitely fits better. Let's just see if we swap over. I don't have it set up. I think I've got it defaulted to dark. Yeah. So if we look, I think our theme is defaulted to dark. I don't remember where I set that up. But we can look at a theme switcher here in the future. One thing that would be nice is Well, I'm not. We might have to take a look at removing um, the footer. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And the other thing we can do is we can take a look at Daisy here. And one of the other options is we can pin the rows. And so it'll make everything inside of the header sticky. So on our table, we can go table dash pin dash rows. And if we do that, then we don't need the footer anymore because the rows are just going to stay in place as the table scrolls. That footer is just a little bit confusing right now. So let's get rid of that footer. There we go. And then the other thing we can do is in our default columns, we might change the cell over to render a checkbox just so people can check things. But for right now, let's just add our header of done. Here we can add our header of description. Got our importance. And that's just going to make the table a little bit nicer to look at. That was actually fairly simple. And we're already to the place where we've got our cancels and stuff in here. Our importance is at a 3. But we could probably render that as 3 stars here. So if we go back to Daisy, and this was inside of rating. Inside of the rating, well, so here, if we go take a look at our Tanstack stuff again, where is Tanstack here? That's the form. Here it is. We take a look here, we can render the cell. So we can say cell, and then we can render it. We need info. And we can return a template string. And our template string can have this in it. And inside of here, can I not bind to ARIA current? Man. Hmm. We're going to leave it as is for right now. Probably to do the ARIA current, to change that into stars is probably going to take longer than I've got left. Let's get some more stuff working with the table. One thing I would like to do with the table is I would like to be able to sort by done. Actually, I'd like to be able to sort by any of the columns. So like if we give this a 5 rating, we gave this a 1 rating, I'd like to be able to sort by importance. I'd also like to do some formatting based on other stuff, but let's do some other. So inside of task head, here we want class equals so we're using secondary there. We're using secondary there also. Let's do hover. We'll do EG accents of like 25 also, and hover text accent content. And so what we should see now, ooh, it's doing the whole row. We don't want the whole row. We want it on the actual that. Okay, so it is changing the, like if I take this 25 off, and we look at what it's doing, this might be a little bit bright, but we can see we don't want quite that we don't want quite that darkness or that brightness, right? And because we're going to fade this into the background, we probably don't need the accent. So let's fade it into the, let's try like a 10. at 10% here. Um, there we go. The other thing is it's like the hovers are very harsh. Is that a good way to put it? Um, they're very, very harsh in the way they look. Um, and I'm not a fan. And by harsh, I mean that they just pop in right away. I'd much rather have like a bit of an animation on them. Um, let's take a look at Daisy and let's take a look at our animation stuff. Um, um, it's probably in Tailwind where we worry about the animations. Um, Box shadow, filters, transitions. Here we go. Um, so it looks like I can just add transition to the class here. So I can just do transition. Boom. And you know what? Let's do transition color. And we can do the same to the row. Um, is it really doing a transition here? Let's go back to Tailwind and take a look. Okay, so we need a delay and a duration. I'm not seeing anything here. Are you guys seeing any fading? They just disappear. Um so we can do like a duration dash 150 here. Let's do like duration dash. We'll make the duration take a second for the transformation to happen. And we'll see if I've got everything set up properly. So we're seeing we are seeing We are seeing some changes there. Let's do an ease in out on this also. Man. Let's just do transition and we'll do ease dash in dash out. It's a little bit more subtle, but let's make the duration like 300. It's faster. It's not popping immediately. Um, the problem I think is that it's not doing. Let's try transition all. It may not be doing the opacity. Um, Duration 3000. Make it take 3 seconds for it to happen. There we go. So we've definitely got some transitions going on here. I don't have any up at the top. That's um it's definitely way too slow now. But at least we can see that it's happening. Um, so if we go back and we take a look at the transition property here, so like this, it has a delay on it. I don't want a delay. We can make like the duration, um, like 500. Ease in and ease out. So if we take this down to like half a second, that's fine. Ease in, ease out. And then I'm going to need to also add this, the table head up above. And this is where I should probably learn, Tailwind better so that I could make helper classes that do this for us, right? But we can see that when something just pops, it's definitely it's more, what do we want to call it? It's like more jarring to people, right? So why did we want to why did we want the columns at the top to highlight? Because we want these to be clickable. So the other thing we need to do is to communicate to people that these are clickable. We also want cursor pointer. So there we go. Now we indicate to people that they're clickable. So now the next thing to do is to look at a column grouping, column pinning, sticky column pinning. We don't want column ordering. fascinating to see this one working. So it doesn't have isolation headers, it can't run. Ooh, a signal input. But what we could do is let's add so to our header, what we can do is we can add a click handler here. And we can say, hey, click equals and we can say sort sort by, and then here we can do headers.column.id. That works. And then down here we can add our protected sort by, and then ID is a string. Boom. And what we can do is for right now, let's just console.log sorting by, and then ID, right? So that will tell us if this works. So it helps if you look, sorting by description, sorting by name, sorting by done, sorting by task importance. Perfect. So we need some sort handlers here in our this is let's do this first, right? In our model, or not in our model, in our store, we need to add something here. We need a computed, and our computed will be our sorted rows. This will be computed. Boom, boom. And so now we need to return something from here. So for right now, what we can do is we can just return store.todos. And this will, we need to make one more change in our to-do form. Here, instead of using, where did we put that? It's in our to-do. So here, in our to-do model, in our store, we added sorted rows. And what this should really be is display rows, because we might want to do other things like filtering and stuff like that. So these are our display rows. And so then we can go back to our to-dos and um, um, to-dos to display. So as of right now, there's not really a whole bunch of change. If we look, it's just the same thing. Um, However, the other thing we can do, we can go back to our store, and we've got selected to do, but we can also add to this sort direction. And this will be of type, if we look, we want it to be to do model keys. Um, Actually, let's yeah, we can do to do model keys. We can we can change this in the future. Um, so one of the first things we want to do is come up here, sort direction. Oh yeah, ascending or descending. Yes, and sort key is to do model keys. Perfect. Sort direction, we'll start with ascending. Um, and the sort key, we can start by sorting by ID, and that will be fine. So our computed here, when we look at our to-dos to display, we can say const let's see. What we want is so if we do like a dot sort here, we need a function. And that function, so what we can do is we can say, hey, const sort functions equals, and here we can go with a map, and this can be to do model keys, and this can be a to do model, b to do model, and this is going to return a -1, 0, or 1, right? To determine the sort. And actually, we can just make this a number for right now. We don't need to go crazy in depth. Um, um, and if we want to declare our map, um, object literal may only ID does not exist in type. Oh, we're gonna have to do strings here. Um, and can we do map dot from? I think Oh, this is not to do model keys. This is... No, it is to do model keys. Why doesn't it like... Because ID for sure exists on... To do model keys is that, but it is telling us fine. We won't do a map. Wait, can't I do um let's go look this up really quick. I think table has some sorting API. I'd like to get my sort it probably does. But I'd like to get my sort in the actual in the actual store. And the reason I like to do that is that if I want to use the sorting someplace else, but maybe we'll start with Tanstack, right? Column sizing, column filtering, fuzzy filtering, grouping, expanding, pagination. Let's just, I guess we could do sorting. Um, oh, client side versus server side sorting. Get sorted row model. And you can pass a sorting function. That's probably better than what we're doing now. Um, we'll we'll take a look at that later. We'll take a look at moving the sorting into the store later. For now, we'll just leave it this way. And fix that up. And then here, we need to just do to-dos. And we can say get sorted row model is get sorted row model. Boom. And I need to add this up here. Actually, it should be able to pick it up now, right? Come on. There we go. And so if we go back here, how do I set up the sorting? We don't need this anymore, but we can leave it in place. Let's go take a look at it again. So that's a React example. It's the sorting guide. So we should be able to, down here, we should be able to say console. Actually, we don't even need that. We can just do this dot table dot get sorting. Wait, is that not how it said to do it? Oh, table dot get state dot sorting. So this dot table dot get state dot sorting. So we should be able to see the sorting state now, right? So if we refresh this and sorting by name, sorting by done. But our sorting state is still empty. I see that you can have your custom sorting function because the API is the same. And so we're now able to see the sorting state, and we can see that our sorting state isn't doing anything. So, oh, I need to end soon. If you need easy access to the sorting state, you can do this. Set sorting. Client-side sorting. To implement client-side sorting, so we've got the get sorted row model. Oh, I have to add sorting functions to the ones I want to sort. Perfect. So we've got alphanumeric. We've got text and basic. You know, we're just going to add basic to everything. So we could say sorting function basic, basic, basic. So let's do that. So with done, we'll just say sorting function basic And we'll copy this all the way down. And what does that do for us? If we refresh, I should be able to sort by importance. No. That did absolutely nothing for us. Because there's nothing telling it that it should do that. I've just got the HTML out there. I haven't told it, hey, you should do something. What am I missing? Where is the... Here it is right here. This is a piece we need right here. We need this click handler. So inside of here on this TH, if I do header.column, if I pass that in, it's a column of type down here on my sort by. Instead of this, I can say that it's a column, and it's a column of type to do model. And I'll need to import column here. Oh, come on. There we go. Now we've got our column. So now we can say column.id. And that should work. And the other thing I can do is I can do column dot toggle get toggle sorting handler. Should be able to toggle sorting here. So now we've got our sorting wired up. So now if I come here and we make this like a 5, and we save, and we make this a 1 and we save, and I click here, there we go. So that was pretty easy. It was actually really easy. And thank you for the example, Ole. Um, so what we did is we took the handler from our table that we had attached to the header, and instead we started passing in the whole column, and that allows us to toggle the column sorting. Which is very cool. This is a pretty powerful table. Very powerful. And we can see that we're sorted by done, descending, true, descending, false. So a lot of the stuff we were going to set up, and we could probably set this up in our we could set this up in our store. Where the table, because right now this table is keeping this is interesting. So if I set this as a 2, it does resort it for us. That's very cool. I set it back to a 5. It resorts it. Yeah, we could create a signal to have the sorting state, and then we could pass that into the store. Based on that signal, we could definitely pass that into the store. That's very cool. It's very, very powerful tool. And you know, we could easily add in so at the very end we could add our accessor key, and this is random number, header could be random, random, yeah, and our sorting could be basic. Well, I'm curious, if I leave the basic sorting off, does it still sort by random number? So if we go back, we should see now we've got our random on here. And let's, you know, edit this one. Boom. Edit this one. Boom. Save that. $157. Oh, interesting. We got 172, 157, and 42 at the bottom. If I make this 243, so my random breaks here. So if I go sorting function, and we go with basic here. So let's refresh this just to make sure we get everything. So let's get a sort set up and 248 save. 191 save. Like this one, if we make it 180, yeah, that's interesting. Because we did see with the importance, like if we started sorting by importance, and I gave this a 5, and I save that, and let's give this one a 4, and I save that. Then we give this one a 2, and I save that. This one is working. This one, I don't know what's going on here. Because, like, we've got 191, 180. So if we take this 180, we make it 230. Oh, now it's working. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. One thing I would like to do, and I definitely need to end, um, but one thing I would for sure like to take a look at is, well, we need to have the ability to add. So we'll add an add button to it that will allow us to add an item. Um, so that'll be pretty easy. But the last thing, I lost my train of thought. The add button works. I mean, I want to change the renderer here so that it renders a checkbox based on whether it's done or not. But I don't know. I think we're getting close. And it's not a bad little to do app. We need some date stuff in here. I'd also like to take a look at maybe rendering multi-row. So that we get more stuff in here. It would also be good to let us know, give some feedback on how we're being sorted. So we can figure that out. And maybe the last thing we do is add some filtering. But I think maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I think we're getting pretty close to done. I do want to take a look at Angular Aria for the date picker. I think that would be really, really cool because I think Angular Aria, if we go take a look at Angular here and we take a look at Aria. So with Angular Aria, do we not have a date selector? Autocomplete combo box grid. Oh. Well, I thought Angular Aria would have a date picker. But since it doesn't, we can take a look at where is it? Angular primitives, right? I don't know. I need to end, but I want to get a date picker added in and get that integrated with the system. And then other than that, I think we're in a good place. Um, and I've said that a bunch of times and then thought of a million different things we could do. Um, I'll see you guys all a week from Sunday. Um, and we're into December already. We may just take this out till the end of the year and start the new year with a new project. Um, I think that's the way we'll go with this. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining me on a Friday. Had a lot of fun. We'll take a look at Tanstack Table more in depth in the coming streams and see what we can do with it. It would be really nice. Well, let's just stop here. We'll start